question 12, the Rocky Mountains one. This is a really, really good one because it tests a logical concept that's kind of hard to get our minds wrapped around sometimes. But if you can get your mind wrapped around this, it's really good. So bottom line is that we're trying to strengthen the argument, which means we're trying to strengthen the conclusion, right? Okay, and the conclusion is the last sentence, which has these two ideas. The mountain snowpack will probably melt more rapidly and earlier, leading to more spring flooding and less storable water. So really, actually, there's like three ideas, right? The snowpack will melt earlier, we'll have greater spring flooding, and then we'll have less storable water for the summer. Sound good? All those ideas came out of nowhere, right? Why does this person think that these three things are going to happen? Yeah, because we're going to have the Rocky Mountains are basically going to get warmer, and that's going to lead to more rain. Cool? Okay. So we need something that says, hey, if it gets more warmer, if you have more rain, then these three things are going to happen. If it says these two things are going to happen or this one thing is going to happen, that strengthens the argument. But the more, the better. Okay. Which ones were we debating here?
B.
B? Mm-hmm. A. And?
A. I chose A.
Okay. Anyone else debating anything else?
I would do B and D.
I thought C was pretty tempting. Yeah.
C was my second choice when I redid it, but it was still wrong.
Thank you for telling everybody that. Still wrong, by the way. Rich?
I feel like C and D, like I kind of realized that they were kind of doing the same wrong thing.
They are doing the same wrong thing. So let's talk about that in a second. But first of all, let's talk about A. So A, does anyone know why A is wrong?
Isn't that given in the first sentence?
This is pretty much a premise. Okay, so global warming will probably cause a substantial increase in the average amount of annual precipitation. That's true. The annual precipitation is like, well, what happens in the summer and stuff like that, right? But we already kind of knew this. It says it's going to cause a greater proportion of precipitation to fall as rain instead of snow. What's more important here is the amount or the proportion of rain rather than just the amount. If it goes up annually, I mean, I think this helps, but not as much. We're still trying to get to the conclusion, which brings in these three new ideas. So maybe keep it open. It's not bad. It's not going to hurt the argument. But when you come into answer choice B and C, they are definitely doing a lot more because they talk about these things that were mentioned in the conclusion and not mentioned in the premises. B, in other mountain regions, after relatively mild winters, we've seen these things. We've seen melting snowpacks, greater spring flooding, less storable water, right? So what happened? We've seen this in other places where the winter was warmer and you had this result. That strengthens the conclusion, okay? That's better than A because it's talking about the things we haven't talked about in the conclusion. C. Anyone know why C is wrong? Doesn't this do the same thing as B? On average, in areas of the Rocky Mountains in which the winters are relatively mild, in other words, they're warmer, there is less storable water to meet summer demands than in the areas in which it's colder. Hey, it's warmer and we had less storable water. Doesn't that prove or help, not prove, but strengthen the conclusion that we're going to have less storable water? Why isn't this any different than B? Huh?
B is flooding.
Okay, what do you mean by comparative? Well, yeah, it's true. B does talk about something else, the greater spring flooding, right? But there's another bigger problem here. Yeah?
Like the mild climate or mild areas of the Rocky Mountains compared to colder areas of the Rocky Mountains.
Yes. So what happens? You have the Rocky Mountains. I've never drawn them before, but I'm going to draw them now. Okay? And let's say that these are warmer and these are colder. Okay? Right? Warm, cold. Sound good? And they're saying that in these parts you have what? What was it exactly? There's less storable water. Is that because it's warmer? Or because something else about this part of the mountain range makes it warmer and makes it have less storable water? It's an alternative cause. It's not the warmth that's leading to the less storable water. It's something else. Right? This is like a self-selecting sample. I don't know when you go out and do a study, you have to randomly assign people to do their things. You can't just go, oh, you're running all the time and you're not. Now let's look at the differences between you. That must be attributed to your running. No, it might be something else about you that leads you to run and have some other characteristic, right? There might be something about this part of the mountain that makes it warmer and have less storable water. So the warmth has nothing to do with it leading to having less storable water. That's very different than answer choice B, because answer choice B said, let's compare the entire mountain range, a different mountain range, to when it was colder and then when it got warmer. And when it got warmer, there was less storable water. That strongly suggests it had something to do with the warmth. Doesn't prove it by any means. There could still be some other cause going on here, but you can see a change. Here we don't necessarily see a change. Maybe it's always warmer here and always colder here. This is a complicated idea, but just making some sense. Rich, you okay with this? That's exactly like you said. Answer choice D does the same thing. It just talks about regions of the world.
What is this like called? Like not like an art, like a relative thing? What is
Yeah, the term that keeps coming to my mind is this is like self-selecting. We're not saying, oh, here, you become colder or you become warmer and now let me see what happens. It's just like it already is warmer. And so we're going and we're seeing, well, what happens to places that are already warmer? We don't know what happens when it changes.
it like an after there instead of because of? Like, it's just so.
It's like you're evaluating it after the fact instead of before. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have no idea what led to it being warmer and if that had any effect on the storable water. All right. Was anyone tempted by any other answers? E or anything like that? Okay.